I decided I wanted to make a camp stove. I know it's a bit unusual for this channel, nothing to do with languages or computers, but I saw a guy using this thing, which basically he used to burn debris or bricks or things. So he was on a biking trail and he stopped and he used this and he kept it in a small pouch in his bike, and I thought it was really cool. But I can't afford the £24 that this thing cost. And looking around the internet, as you do, I found a way to basically make this yourself from a baking tin. Now, a lot of these people get their baking tin from the dollar store or Poundland, but I had just recently bought a bunch of new baking tins, and I was about to throw the old one out. Um, so I decided I would just use it. I have a template that I created, and I'll put a link to it possibly in the description. And then I printed this out and then I put it on here and drew around it with pencil marks, which you can possibly see on occasion when my hand goes near it. But basically, with a pair of tin snips, I cut the thing up and cut the shapes out. There you can see it kind of there. And it didn't take too long actually. The metal is just like sheet metal. It cuts relatively easily with a pair of tin snips. You do need a hammer and somewhere to smack it down to sort of level it out on occasion, which is what I'm doing here. But other than that, it's relatively straightforward to do. It does make your hands hurt a bit, but other than that, it's not difficult. Not difficult at all. Um, and then you just snip it out. The most difficult bit for me is the where I had to put holes in it, so drill it out. Cutting around the outside is relatively straightforward, but making holes isn't. I had a Dremel-like thing for doing that, but it just didn't work out very well. To be honest, if my angle grinder wasn't broken, this would have been an angle grinder job, and I'd have done it in about 2 seconds. But I did eventually manage to get it done. I won't bore you with the whole cutting out a piece of metal. So I'll leave this bit running and I'll show you what the actual end product looks like. Okay, so I finished the thing and actually it fits in a DVD case, which is pretty good really. So I put the hole in it. So let's try and assemble this thing. It did get a bit twisted when I cut the hole in the other end. But hopefully we'll get it all working. Assuming of course this is the bit that it's supposed to go in, which I don't think it is. Ah yeah, that might be a bit better. These are sort of a custom fit job because of the way I did it. But I suspect if you actually knew what you were doing, which I don't, it would be very easy to do. Right. I think it's this way. Yeah. So a bit fiddly to set up, but can't beat the cost because it actually cost me a sum total of nothing. The pan I would have been throwing out anyway. Okay, so get this final pin in. That was rather easy, that one. Okay, so as you can see, I don't think that one's in properly, but anyway, it is quite stable, and I did check, you can put a saucepan on here if you turn it out, like, it'll fit. But we're not going to worry about that this time. I picked up some twigs and bark and debris off the ground. Some old cedar bark. I did consider bushcrafting this, but I brought a lighter. So I think a slight design flaw with this is this hole is too far down and too close to the panel. I probably should have put that up a bit. But it works. Now I did think that it didn't have enough air holes, even though it does have some underneath. Ooh, oh, that's bloody hot. So I think it might be useful to have some more air holes in this thing. Maybe a couple around the sides. A lot of the commercial ones you see, they just filled with holes. But I did think holes on the bottom and the giant hole in the side would be enough. And it does burn. It would heat a coffee pot. It would heat a cup of coffee. Now these don't seem to get that hot, so you can actually lift it up and sort of move it around with them. I see this would be a bit better on a rock, but the ground's really wet.